Trace Trylko, Sons of UCF. Knights head coach Gus Malzahn meeting with the media for the first time since the announcement UCF against Georgia Tech in the Gasparilla Bowl on December 22nd. Coach Malzahn covered a wide range of topics. In addition to the bowl, talked about recruiting and the transfer portal.
Good thing is, we played very well 2 years ago in this bowl. We're using really the same script as far as practice. And, the biggest difference 2 years ago is the portal, but it's recruiting. So we're going to stay with that same script. I believe we're going to start practice on Friday. We'll practice Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We'll give them a few days off. We'll come back Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then we'll go ahead and get in our bowl prep after that.
Guys, when did you guys know it was going to be Georgia Tech? I mean, you just mentioned you're flying. I mean, You're on the road recruiting. When did you figure out it was going to be Georgia Tech and what bowl you were in? And what was kind of the reaction from the players when they found out where they're going to be playing?
Yeah, it was late. It was late when we found out Gasparilla Bowl. We started kind of hearing possibilities late Saturday night. I think there's possibilities, but you never know. And then just like you, we thought it was Duke there for about an hour. And then we said, no, hold on, probably won't be. And so we just kind of sat back and probably found out about the time y'all did and playing Georgia Tech. And, we played Duke last year. We'd been fine with that, but, a new opponent, that's probably fresh for everybody. And, we're familiar with Georgia Tech, playing them last year. And, they got a quarterback that's outstanding, a guy that I recruited out of Texas coming out of high school. He's having a great year, throwing it, running it, and all that. But yeah, we found out probably when you did.
Dovetailing off of Brandon's question, you mentioned before the season you wanted to kind of embrace a CEO role. So how is the recruiting process going from both on your roster, in the portal, and then the high school recruits? Like, how are you managing all three of those aspects?
Yeah, our number one goal was to keep our top players. And, right now that we do have a few that went in the portal that we weren't surprised by, so that we're still holding on to that. Seeing what the deficiencies are, or what we need to add to with the portal. We'll do that, and then continuing to recruit class, which we've got a very, very good recruiting class, and just trying to get to signing day on that. Just there's a lot of moving parts. Kind of like I said last year, the job description of a college football coach has changed in the last 2 years, but in the last year specifically, and so you just got to adapt, you got to adjust.
What's one or two things you can point to this season in which your team benefited from those bowl practices last season?
I think more than anything, it's just your young guys developing depth. We'll start out Friday and we'll do some things with our older guys, but we'll focus on the younger guys, developing those guys. And this weekend, we'll just get back in the flow of things. And we'll do a little bit of Georgia Tech, but it'll be more geared to us, just getting back in the swing of things. And then the next week, we'll focus on Georgia Tech a little more.
Obviously, the game's still a little bit away, but have you heard any players choosing to sit out the game?
Not that I've heard. I expect the guys that are with us will be playing. We'll see how that goes. But like I said, there haven't been any surprises in the portal yet. So hopefully that'll hold true.
Guess you look at the transfer portal. We asked you about this before. You said it comes fast. It's really a fast-paced thing. For the first day or two, what have you seen from it? What's any surprises or anything that you really kind of are?
Like I said before, I think the biggest challenge from a coaching standpoint is guys go in the portal and you just don't know as much about them as if you were able to recruit somebody a long period of time. So, you watch their film and do they have the skill set that fits, and then you do the homework best you can on the type of person and everything that goes with that. So things happen quick. Most teams have a year experience, last year, so making better decisions and having more information and being more ready. So our team has done a great job. Our recruiting staff has stayed up late at night, cutting up, making cut-ups. As somebody goes in, they have the film cut up, and you watch them, and then you reach out, and you go from there.
You're talking about how important it is to retain your current roster. I think there's 5 players in the portal. You said those aren't really necessarily surprises. Do you feel like you're going to retain most of your top players?
Well, we're very hopeful. You never know, but we're very hopeful, and our guys, they can really see that next year if we can keep our core group together, we'll have a real chance. And so there's a lot of excitement in our building. This bowl game is really important. To keep that momentum. Going 2 years ago, we saw it on a really positive end. Last year it was kind of a tough deal. So we need to play well and gear up and do everything we can to get a bowl victory.
You mentioned practices starting Friday, bowl game on the 22nd. How many of the allotted bowl practices will you get in?
Yeah, well, we will go 11. We'll have 11. I mean, I think you got up to 15 or whatever. We'll go 11. That's exactly what we did 2 years ago. It worked out really well.
Coach, winning this game would put you at 7-6. What's the importance of that vaulting the program forward through recruiting, through the spring, and moving forward?
Yeah, I think it's momentum. I mean, it's momentum, and it's real important to our seniors, real important to our players to, finish off on the right track. I think we won 3 of our last 4 games, started playing good football, and we need to continue that. But I really feel like our guys will be extremely motivated to play this game, and that's what it really comes down to this day and time of college football is, how motivated a team's going to be. That's just the way it is, and I really feel like we'll be a motivated team, going to Tampa.
You said Georgia Tech's obviously a familiar opponent. How much do they look similar if you started to kind of game plan for them, or if you look at the film across the whole season? How much do they look the same from last year when you were here?
They got some new players. I mean, obviously a new quarterback, but like I said, I'm very familiar with them, and it doesn't surprise me at all that he's lighting it up, playing really good. But now they've got some new players. We got some new players, so he's a new head coach. He wasn't head coach when here last time. I think it was the next game that he was. So it's different. Each year is different too. So we're prepared, just like if we hadn't played them, and you kind of compare back to see what carries over, what doesn't. But it's a new year.
Last time you played in the Gasparilla Bowl, the game was a sellout. A lot of UCF fans made the drive down to Tampa. Are you hoping to see a similar turnout this time?
Yeah, there's no doubt. And I don't know. We've already sold out our first allotment, whatever that is. So, that was a great experience for everybody last time. So it'd be great to have a packed house again.
I guess when you look at your roster and where you move forward into next season, what are some of the areas that are some positions you want to kind of maybe look at in the transfer portal that you think maybe you need to kind of beef up or add some big places?
We're always going to look if there's a great player out there, but specifically we're losing some veteran linebackers. We're losing some linemen that we were very deep this year, but that's kind of the 2 areas right now. If you ask, that would be the 2 that I would say that we're focusing on the most.
You've got 3 players on offense, particularly who I know have decisions to make: return, possibly NFL. Would or they would or not play a boy between RJ Harvey, Kobe, and Javon. Is there a timeline on when they make a decision on what they're going to do?
Yeah, we'll see. We're just trying to give them all the factual information. Obviously, those are 3 impact players that we'd love to have back, but we'll see. We're having talks, as we speak.
UCF's had a great deal of success in Tampa in that stadium over the last couple of years, bowls or otherwise. Why is it a good fit, this bowl game, for UCF?
Well, I think you just said it because we're very comfortable and familiar with it. Just right down the road. I don't know about everybody else, but I'm tired of traveling. I think we said that. I think y'all are too. So the fact we can get in the car and go 2 hours and come back in the car, I think it's a really win-win for everybody. Our players are they're really excited to go over there. They like playing there.
Quarterback-wise, is that, you just talked about a position need, is that a position in the transfer portal where maybe you would look for an experienced player to supplement that roster?
Yeah, that is a possibility. There's a possibility that we'd look for a quarterback. That we've got guys that we feel good about, but at the same time, and really all positions are really kind of looked at it that way. You're always trying to upgrade your roster. And then, like I said, if you have some surprises for somebody that you may not didn't think or you were hoping they wouldn't, you got to be prepared. So, we're going to be prepared to make quick decisions regardless.
About quarterbacks in the portal, Nebraska coach Matt Rule had mentioned that, quote, a good quarterback in the portal costs $1 million to $1.5 million to $2 million right now. Are you encountering same discussions or similar experiences as it comes to looking at the position?
Yeah, I mean, that's that may be the elite guys, which would surprise me. But yeah, this is a new age of college football. I think nothing really surprises me now. You just got to adjust. You've got to adapt, and so that's the way we're looking at everything.
I look at that. How important is that the fan base continues to embrace the kingdom and donate to that?
Yeah, I mean and I said this before. That's the key moving forward. We really need the kingdom everybody that, that could help us. That's the new age of college football, keeping your top players. It has more to do with the portal than anything. I mean, the kingdom than anything else. So we definitely need their help. SJ too, he's doing a super job, but we need our fan base to really embrace that. That'll be real important moving forward in the recruiting area.
Gus, I know you're out recruiting, but you obviously saw the rankings for the playoff. Florida State doesn't get in. Do you have an opinion on seeing a state team get left out that's undefeated and won its conference championship?
Yeah, I mean, of course, Mike's kind of one of my guys, but even with that, I mean, I was real disappointed. What football really is finding a way to overcome obstacles. I mean, I was real impressed. I texted him after the game. That was one of his best coaching jobs. I mean, they're the third quarterback in, and a team finds a way, a defense play their best game against a top 20 offense, and they win, and they don't get rewarded. I think that's a bad look for football. I was real disappointed personally. I'm kind of one of those old school, high school guys, work my way up. Not that I'm a Florida State fan by any means. I'm a Mike fan, but
Yeah.
I just don't think it's good for football, and they should be in. I'm sitting there trying to figure out, like Georgia, they lost in 3 years, and they lose by 3 points, and they don't make it. I don't know. I think they need to take a serious look at how they're evaluating. The good thing is it's going to 12, and so this is probably the last year you'll have that. But I don't know. I mean, an undefeated team in a Power 5 conference wins their conference championship, they leave them out, and they use the excuse their quarterback's hurt. I don't go for that one.
Well, how much is that format going to help a program like UCF when you look at the 12 teams next year? I think it'll be top 5 or 6 conference champs.
Which a game changer. Really, it should have happened a couple of years ago. There's a couple of guys that kind of got together and teamed up, and that's the reason we're having the conversation now. But the good thing is the 12 teams will solve everything. It'll be really good for us. I've said that before. We're going to do everything in our power to be in, that 12-team playoff next year.
Amidst a 5-game losing streak, a lot of fans didn't expect there to be bowl talk. How surprised were you, the team's finish that has you at the podium today talking about a bowl?
You just take it week by week. I knew we had the capabilities of a good team. I mean, obviously moving up in a new conference, having some key injuries, didn't help. But we just took it week by week, and now we're here, and we need to win the bowl to have a winning season.
Brendan just asked you about the 12 next year, the 12 playoff teams. How does that change your recruiting, that narrative to those players that come here, our odds are better?
I think every team helps recruit, not just us. I mean, if you have a chance to be in the top 12, and now that we're in a Power 5 conference, we're familiar a year. I think that helps, and this is a place that we can get there at.
Looking back on the season, and you went through that tough stretch, when you reflect back on it, how important do you think that was for the development of your team long term, as individuals, as players, as well as your coaching?
Yeah, we'll look back at that area. That'll be an area that we'll look back, and we definitely grew. You find out about your team. You find out about people when you face major adversity. Our guys didn't flinch. I mean, they were real disappointed. They didn't flinch. The staff didn't flinch. Like I said, most teams would have jumped off a cliff at that point and never recovered. But this group hung in there. It says a lot about them, and it says a lot about our program and really, where our program's going. That'll be something we'll look back in the past that we'll be able to point to and see how far we've came.
That's last year you weren't an official member of the Big 12 when you were out recruiting, but this time around, when you're out recruiting, what has it meant to be able to have that first full season under your belt?
Yeah, it helps. There's no doubt it helps, but you have to have the money to compete. Okay, so 2 years ago, that would have been like, oh, it's huge. And it's still huge, okay? But you got to you have the money to compete, because a lot of times, you talk, especially at transfer meeting, first thing they want to talk about is collective and NIL. Even before you get into the offense, defense, development, and all that. That's just a new age of college football, and you have to have the resources, money to compete. So the Big 12 definitely helps us, but more than anything is to be able to compete financially.
How hectic are these days personally for you? You said you just got off a plane this morning. Is it like full days of recruiting and you got a game prep at the same time?
Yeah, it's a little different for me because we're very strategic. In the old days, I would have tried to hit as many high schools as I could, and that was always great. That's really what a high school coach, a college head coach should do. But now I spend half my time here in the office, watching film and meeting with players, my players sometimes, and then you got officials that come in and out, and then strategically going out and having your visits. So that's really the biggest difference. As soon as we get through here, I've got about 2 hours of film to watch, and then I'll end it this evening when, if I go on the road, watching some Georgia Tech film, and just trying to do that.
You just mentioned needing the resources to compete. Do you feel you have the resources to compete?
We're still working on that. We're still working on it.
Knights players busy with finals. They begin practice for this bowl game on Friday. For the Sons of UCF, I'm Trace Trylko.